What's up, guys? This is Keith from theScore esports, and this past Thursday over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/theScore esports, Colin, Dan, Devin, and I talked about the death of Mixer.
Mixer was not going to work if their big plan for pulling in viewers was signing Shroud and Ninja.
Was it a mistake to sign Shroud and Ninja in the first place? Where are those two superstars going to go? And is anybody ever going to be able to challenge Twitch in the world of live streaming? This chat was filled with hot takes. So, for anybody who doesn't know, who was living under a rock, etc., Mixer has announced that they will be ceasing operations, and they will be partnering, is the way that they're referring to it, with Facebook Gaming, and more or less just sending all their users over to Facebook, or at least giving them the option.
In English, Mixer's dead.
Yeah, in English, Mixer is dead, as our Don't At Me title said. Allegedly, both Ninja and Shroud have been paid out parts of their salary. Ninja, like $30 million, Shroud, $10 million. So those dudes are walking away with bank. And they've been given the opportunity to look for new contracts, right? Like, these are going to be kind of big fish that people want to sign. I don't know. What do you guys think? What did you guys think of the announcement? You guys have any big takeaways?
Here is my absolute, and I don't know if this is a hot take, but here is like my take from like day one. Like, Mixer was not going to work if their big plan for pulling in viewers, like it was never going to work if their big plan was signing Shroud and Ninja.
As of today, I will be streaming exclusively on Mixer. I'm out.
Yeah. It was never going to work if they were looking for the short-term gains of dragging over the entire audience. Twitch is obviously like kind of a monopoly in the live streaming space in gaming, but like the reason it is because it was like 10 years of rolling the snowball down the hill, right? Of inertia, of people building audience here, of people regularly going to Twitch not to watch any game, but to watch their favorite streamer. The reason Shroud is popular is because over the years he built up a presence and brought people in.
Mixer didn't work out because the product didn't sell. The growth was not acceptable by Microsoft standards. It was too slow. It was too creeping and crawling. And no live event promotion it was going to change that.
Twitch was not getting big by going, like you said, going to malls and going on TV. Like, that's just not how it worked. Yeah. Like, let's be realistic here. When you're challenging a streaming giant, you've got to look at what they did and be like, it's going to take us time to get here. When that didn't work, they went out and spent big money on Shroud and Ninja, and that may have gotten them short-term gains, but it again didn't lead to long-term gains. And at the end of the day, Microsoft is a complicated company, and I actually think the real reason this all happened, that they talked about this in their statement, is xCloud. So for people who don't know, xCloud is Microsoft's game streaming service, not streaming video games like you do on Twitch, but like in the way Stadia does, where you're literally like cloud streaming a game. You don't have to have a console. You could stream it onto your phone if you wanted to. Microsoft really believes that xCloud could be a potential future of games, and like Mixer was part of their opportunity to try to like get it in with xCloud. They thought, oh, people watch, it'll be like one ecosystem. You watch Mixer, you go to xCloud, like you click on the game, you go to xCloud, you play a game, and Mixer wasn't popular enough. And xCloud was like the big new thing they were putting money into, and they're like, okay, we're gonna stop throwing money into this money pit, and we're gonna, clearly Microsoft is not a big enough mega corporation that they're like, well, we can't compete with mega corporation Amazon, which is Twitch, so we're going to go team up with mega corporation Facebook to make xCloud work, because we need xCloud to be popular in a way that we didn't need Mixer to be popular.
Right, exactly.
So, like, it's a really interesting thing that's been brought up, and I cannot remember who originally reported this, but it's been cited by a couple reporters on the matter. Part of the money, allegedly, that Ninja signed for did not come from Mixer's marketing budget. It came from Xbox's marketing budget.
Yeah.
Allegedly, a lot of that money came from Xbox because they thought, oh, Ninja's an old Halo guy. We'll get him to play the new Halo when it comes out, and he'll help sell it. He'll be our marketing push.
Wow.
Mixer didn't even have necessarily these huge budget to bring these guys in the first place.
No.
They were pulling in money from other parts of Microsoft to try to stay afloat, basically. I legitimately think the signing Shroud and Ninja was a mistake. Like, like in hindsight, it's easy to say that, but I think even at the time, it felt like this is a lot of money with no guarantee that their viewers will go over to you. And even if their viewers do go over to you, that's not actual growth. That is an expense that you have to keep paying to buy viewers.
So here's the question I have for you guys, right? For you three. Okay, so having, from what I understand, and I'm not an expert, but having really good streaming infrastructure, not enough to win a war.
No.
Okay, I'll buy that. Signing the biggest streamers in the world, some of them, not enough to win the war. Well, I have to buy that because that's objectively true. So how the fuck do you beat Twitch? How do you become a credible, at least a credible rival?
I think that, like I said, if you are willing to play the long game, I think Mixer had better, like, you know, you're right, like better services. They aren't enough if you're only going to give it 2 years. They aren't enough if you're going to give up, if you're not going to run the marathon. If you take the sprint, you lose the first 100 meters and say, fuck it, I'm not running the rest of this marathon. If you have to be willing to run the marathon if you want to compete, because Twitch has been running for 10 years. You can't fight them if you're not willing to put in the work.
Netflix and Amazon Prime and Crave TV and Hulu and whoever else compete with each other. And how do they compete with each other? Well, yes, their infrastructure has to be good for sure, but if there's no content on their platforms, they're dog shit, they're done, right? So they make these blockbuster signings, basically, like as if they're signing big sports players, except they're big media franchises. We got Seinfeld, we got Game of Thrones, we got Friends, all this kind of stuff, right? And it works, and it brings people back and forth. And I myself, bought 2 months worth of a streaming service because it had Game of Thrones, right? And I canceled it, but the point is, they got my money, right?
Yeah.
And if you think of Ninja and Shroud and Ewok and whoever else as one-to-ones for these big franchises, you know, like Shroud is the Stranger Things of Twitch or whatever, then it's like, why the hell didn't that work?
Right.
You know, like why didn't people follow him? I was kind of initially thinking to myself, like, what is the difference here? And then you were whatever the difference is, it became clear that Microsoft failed to read the room and failed to understand that sort of blockbuster signing thing is actually not how you stay in the game and win the game.
Yeah. Well, and Colin, we talked about this yesterday, and your analogy with Game of Thrones and Crave, right, is the fact that, like, you know, most people have either Netflix and one other platform, or usually they're just using Netflix. And so, to your point, you signed up for Crave for a couple of months to watch Game of Thrones, but then as soon as it was over, you bounced back to whatever streaming platform that you usually use, which for a lot of people is Netflix. So it's a similar analogy, right? Like, I would bounce over to watch Shroud every once in a while, but ultimately I would go back to Twitch and kind of have that passive experience that Keith is talking about. Right?
Yeah, Devin, I think that's part of the point, but not the whole point. I think what we're taking away here, or at least what I'm taking away here, is what I was saying before, that, like, the experience is different. It's like Colin is making the point that, like, Crave can get Game of Thrones and he'll go over there and he'll spend money to watch it. But in the instance with Mixer, like, not enough people, quote unquote, spent their money to watch Game of Thrones. Mixer overanalyzed how much people are actually fans of Shroud, aka Game of Thrones, or Ninja, aka Stranger Things. Like, they thought that they could pull an audience, and the reality is that is not how streaming works. People do not sit at their computers and stare at their screen and go like, man, I can't wait for what Shroud does next. I'm so just gripped. I can't believe this. Like, nobody does that. Before we leave the Mixer subject, I want some speculation. Where do you think these guys are going?
Like, I think Twitch is pulling out the fucking, like, the welcome wagon and the money pit. Like, he's got, like, they understand that Twitch knows that, like, obviously these guys aren't necessarily bringing in, like, hard views to the platform. Their viewers never left Twitch. Twitch has those analytics. Like, they know that the Shroud viewers didn't just stop watching Twitch. But they also know the brand value of having Ninja and Shroud on their platform. Like, they also understand what that does for them marketing-wise and how many questions that means they don't have to answer, right? Like, oh, well, where's Shroud? Never have to ask that again. Here he is, locked into a deal. I don't know what they're going to pay him. I don't know if it means they have to cancel other deals, but I do think that they will try their hardest to make an exclusivity deal happen. And I think that Shroud and Ninja are used to getting money for streaming now. They will not just do it for free.
Right.
Yeah, I think Shroud goes back to Twitch, and then Keith's hot take on Ninja.
Do you disagree? Do you disagree with that, Colin? You think they would? You think they would just do it without exclusivity deals?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't thought as hard as you guys have thought about this one. To be totally honest with you, you just kind of like made me think about that, and I was really surprised because I never considered that. I think my default was like, yeah, they'll go back to Twitch because they're in the best position possible. They secured the bag. They made their money. Presumably they want the viewership, right? Maybe not Ninja. I'm not. It's hard to suss that guy out. But Shroud, I feel like he wants to go back and hang with his buddies and do his old thing, right? And I kind of and from Twitch's perspective, they don't have a lot of leverage to get an exclusive deal because Twitch has just gone through this period where they've lost these two guys, and guess what? The sky never fell.
Yeah,
everything's fine, and why do we fucking need you? So I'm dubious that they will get any exclusivity deals from Twitch. If they do, I mean, my God, kudos to these guys because they just make money by waking up in the morning.
Yeah. Well, and I
honestly become commodities.
I honestly, I see a world where neither of them care if they get exclusivity deals, right? Like if you have $30 million, because if you have $30 million in the bank, sorry.
I don't know, dude. I'm like, yes, if you have $30 million in the bank, you're good. That's what you and I think because we're people without $30 million. But I feel like when you're a person who has $30 million and you got paid $30 million to stream, you are not streaming for free again. You ain't giving that shit out for free.
I don't know. I could see it where Shroud doesn't sign an exclusivity deal and he's just hanging out on Twitch with his friends again. I mean, like, again, I see your point, Dan. Like, if I don't have $10 million, so that would be great. But I don't know if Shroud cares that much to add another 40 mil or whatever Twitch signs him for. I
just think he's gonna stream no matter what, but he wants the money for doing it. He knows what he's worth now, right? He has a dollar value attached to his name.
Does he? Or is there an argument to be made for the reverse, where Twitch actually knows that his value isn't right? That is not what Mixer paid. Doesn't this situation illustrate that actually his value is not very high because Mixer paid him and nothing happened and Twitch never died?
Yeah, I actually completely agree with Colin. I think that this situation that happened with Mixer, it really dwarfs the bargaining power that Ninja and Shroud have, particularly Shroud, honestly, because his scope on other platforms is much lower than Ninja, like the TikToks and Twitters and YouTubes of the world. So when you go back to the bargaining table, and the reports beforehand were like Mixer was offering this number, and Twitch was offering 75% of that or whatever, just due to their user base, which makes sense. But now you go back to the bargaining table, and Shroud's like, I was streaming to 5,000 people on Mixer, and all of a sudden, the way that Twitch evaluated him at 40,000, it might lead to a smaller number in the future. I think as soon as these contracts were put in front of people like Shroud and Ninja, their evaluation of themselves based on viewership went completely out the window. I think a lot of us, we sit down and we look at that sidebar on Twitch and we say, oh, wow, Summit's doing really good right now. He has a lot of viewers, or it really seems like Tim is struggling. He has less viewers than he normally does. And that is just, within the context of these contracts and exclusivity deals, it is just almost irrelevant in the way that these people evaluate themselves. When Ninja signed that contract, the number of people watching him stream did not matter to him nearly as much anymore. These people from my perspective, these people do not want to grind for viewers. They don't want to feel like they're associated with the number of people watching them at all times. And I know Ninja in particular has gone on the record saying like, well, viewership is not I don't care anymore. Like it's not what I define my self-worth with. Like I'm still doing good on YouTube. I'm still doing good on TikTok. I'm still doing good on Twitter. He sees this as an opportunity to grow outside of the gaming space, which I mean we saw when he was going on Ellen and going on every talk show possible. And I think it's the obvious thing to look at it like, oh, look how bad their viewership did. But I'm not necessarily sure that they see that as a failure. Because if somebody put a $10 million contract in front of me, the last thing I'm going to worry about is how many subscribers I have, honest to God. Ninja has been pretty open about the fact that he wants to be bigger than gaming, that he's interested in being this kind of celebrity in his own right. And I think it is very, very possible that we see Ninja make the jump that Courage did. Because of all of these people that, to YouTube, for those who don't know, Courage streams on YouTube now.
To YouTube? Okay.
Yeah. Of all of these people that signed exclusive deals that went other places, I think maybe the biggest success story is Courage, who went to YouTube, the only person, the only big name to go to YouTube, or one of the only big names to go to YouTube, went to YouTube and was able to see similar and in some months bigger success on YouTube, and was able to branch himself away from being pigeonholed by Fortnite. Courage has gone to YouTube, he's played League of Legends, he's played Warzone, he's playing God of War on stream right now. He's been able to be a variety gamer or whatever. And I think that for streamers, that's kind of the dream, right? You want people to watch you for you, and you want to be able to reach a similar audience to the games you're known for. And I think if I'm sitting in Ninja seat and I get to make this choice all over again, where I go to whatever stream platform basically that I want to, because I'm Ninja and I'm famous or whatever, I would see YouTube, who has a way bigger user base than Twitch, who has this success story and Courage, who you can go and stream a game like God of War and pick up some ancillary viewership just from the fact that YouTube is kind of this big engine that's constantly churning, and someone searches God of War on a Sunday afternoon and they see Ninja stream and it's like, oh, I got this brand new viewer. They don't even know what Fortnite is. They're just a God of War fan. I think if I'm in Ninja's seat, I want to see if I can replicate what Courage is doing on YouTube. And I mean, Ninja's got 23 million YouTube subscribers. Like he's already a massive name on the platform. I could really see him branching out and trying to take that path. So that's my kind of hot take, where my money is. We also got Valor in ranked mode yesterday.
I was playing a bunch of that last night. Yeah.
Literally snoozing.
Dude, everybody in the chat, Devin is on a quest right now. He's on a quest to become a real gamer.
Devin, are you gonna be radiant by the end of the month?
Well, so here's the thing, right? Like in CS:GO, I have been so toxic that I will never get out of Silver 1. Like I have a theory that Valve is just not gonna let me because I've been a piece of shit in CS:GO.
I have a theory that you're actually just bad.
So okay, fuck you. But
I watched Devin clutch some crazy situations. Like
so now
Devin can be sick, but he needs to be Kevin to be sick.
Somebody says just spam breach. No, I play a lot of Phoenix just because like I'm very aggressive, as Keith and Dan will tell you whenever I play Counter-Strike or Valorant. And he works for me in that way. I can just kind of run in and do my thing.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Big time Colin McNeil joining the show.
Colin McNeil done with his don't at me.
We're flexing today, boys.
Oh,
we're flexing.
He's wearing the Nas.
Got the Nas Supreme photo tee. Nasty Nas. You know how it goes, man.